Hello, everyone. Welcome to another podcast, Everything Hollywood, with my friend Larry Namer. Hey, Larry, nice to see you.
Good to see you. And we actually have a fun show today. We're not really getting into politics, but we've got a politician joining us.
Yes.
But I think, maybe we'll explain it before we really get into that segment. The state of California, we've been the center of the media world.
Yes.
I mean, Hollywood is kind of, a name, but it's really this state of mind that's really been all in California. And over, the last years, a lot of that business has drifted out of here. It's gone to other countries, it's gone to other cities, other states. And, the person that we're going to have in here, while he's running for governor of California, but he's got a very big agenda on how he's going to bring business back to make California a better place to live, but also bring the media and entertainment business back here.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about that.
And, I think that's really, everybody should understand, that's why, we haven't become a political talk show, but we're really looking at how politics impacts the media and entertainment business. So
yeah, that should be really interesting. And we also have Dr. Mary Taheri joining us as well.
Yeah, and I think it gets to the whole issue of healthcare. Particularly in our state, and the things that have to be. California needs to be better, plain and simple. It needs to be better in every way. From the business environment to the way we take care of people. We are the fifth largest economy in the world, and we should be doing a lot better job of taking care of the folks that live here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited because, obviously the politics is parallel to entertainment, right? Everything that is happening in politics is obviously affecting our business. So it'd be very interesting to hear from our guests today. I can't wait to hear from them, and that's coming up. But let's talk about what's going on now in the news. And I heard that Cannes Film Festival actually went scheduled this year. What do you think of that?
Yeah, and I'm disappointed that I'm not there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Cannes Film Festival is now back, and it's live, and half of the people that I know have gone there, and it's really become one of these things where it's the post-COVID, the ability to finally get out and get the mask off and, live something like, we used to live. Although, I don't think we necessarily need to go back to the way things were in many areas. We need to get back to having a little bit of fun and having a life.
Yeah, do you think, I haven't seen the footage from Cannes Film Festival, but did it look like it's going as usual? Do they have the usual red carpet, the whole screening and everything? Is it the same, or did you see?
Yeah, and a lot of people went. From Hollywood, a lot of people are over there, and seems like business is happening. And I see all my friends dressed in tuxedos going to these film openings and stuff. So it's cool. It's good to see that the festival is back.
But do you think that that's the beginning of all the other festivals sort of coming back in a way?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a great sign that it is possible to get back to some of these things. I think we'll see film festivals come back. I think next year you're going to see some of the big fashion shows. Milan, Paris, London, New York. I think you'll start to see those things come back again. And it's encouraging. It's a good sign. Even with the Delta virus being out there and, causing some havoc, I think it's just a good sign that we're getting back to, a little bit of normal life.
So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, I'd like to talk to you about a podcast that I was listening to this weekend about Quentin Tarantino buying a couple of theaters. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll be right back.
We're all fans of something or someone, investing our time and loyalty, but getting little in return. Well, it's about to change forever with Fanvestor, a platform that lets you get in on celebrity businesses early on, buy shares of their new startups, support a charity and new product drops, and share once-in-a-lifetime experiences with them.
What's up, it's Amari Stoudemire here, and we're launching Masa with Fanvestor to offer a limited edition, perks, products, and experience to my fans.
Here's how it works. Go to fanvestor.com. Choose an opportunity you want to get in on. Click here and there, and you're done. Go check your email for the investor's certificate. And don't forget to check back often for updates on your new business investment. It's official now. Celebrate your support with an experience. Go 10 rounds in the gym with Amare. Get a matching tattoo with Super Dope Q. Or get on FaceTime and hang out by the pool with DJ Khaled. After all, you're more than a fan now. You're a fanvestor.
Okay, so we're back. Larry, before we went on break, I was talking about Quentin Tarantino, the famous director, is bought the Vista Theater. And I think from what I was reading is he's only showing films that are printed in films.
Right.
Right? So what are your thoughts about boutique theaters? And that's what he's talking about, is the boutique theaters will thrive while some of these chains are not going to do so well. So I just want to kind of take your thoughts on it.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, Quentin is the consummate filmmaker in my mind. I think he's right in very many ways in that he's trying to maintain the heritage of filmmaking and stuff like that. I think the big chains are in a lot of trouble. You think of the AMCs of the world, and they build these things and they have 16 screens.
Yeah.
Well, they're not going to be able to maintain 16 screens. But when you have these specialty theaters that are showing this kind of classic revival stuff, I think those will do really, really well economically. And I think, for Quentin, it's as much of, a passion to maintain filmmaking as an art as it is for a profit motive. So I think as long as, these things are able to sustain themselves, and I think this will, I think it's a great thing. And, I applaud him for, putting his money where his mouth is.
So you agree with the notion that the boutique theaters will thrive as everything is coming back?
I think boutique theaters are certainly going to thrive. And like I say, it's the multiplexes that I think are going to have some difficulty.
So explain to our viewers, like movies like a Marvel movie, for instance, right? These huge budgeted movies. Are they come in, and when Quentin Tarantino's talking about print film, does that mean that they're not going to be able to show a Marvel movie? Or how can you explain that a little bit more? What does that mean?
They wouldn't. I mean, the Marvel stuff is actually shot on video, so I don't think it qualifies as something that will go into one of Quentin's theaters and stuff. And he really is about celebrating film, the art of film making. The Marvel stuff, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
I think just the model is different. The audience is different. I mean, they're doing, we're talking about Marvel. I think they've done an amazing job. And when I say they, being Disney, in really thinking this through. And you take that whole issue of Marvel Universe, and they've taken like all these little known or secondary characters, and they're building these little mini series about them. And so, like, I'm getting to know, I never really understood Loki, and now I'm watching the limited Loki thing. So then when they do move into the big theater things and movies, it's going to be much more accessible to me because I kind of understand the backstory. I think they're doing an incredible job in doing that, and they're building a franchise that'll last for the next 100 years.
Yeah, I mean, do you think people would want to go back? Some of these great big movies like The Godfather or even Citizen Kane or some of these older movies, do you think people would want to go back in theaters and watch those? Is that what Quentin's talking about?
Yeah.
Reviving some of those great old Hollywood movies.
And, and I think the answer is yes, there are a lot of people. I mean, I would love to see The Godfather, in a real theater experience, with a great screen and great sound and, with other people and a box of popcorn and stuff like that. I mean, I would absolutely welcome it. And actually, I'd pay a premium with that
Yes.
experience.
And I think that's kind of what he's talking about. So, yeah, so thank you for that insight. And guys, we're looking forward to having our first guest talking about politics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting. So, when we come back, Larry will introduce our first guest for today. We'll be right back.
I had no idea. I feel like I did too much. I feel like I did too much. Let's get all yeah, I need all I feel like I did too much. I feel like I did too much. Yeah, let's party yeah, I need all
What's up? It's Amari Stoudemire here, and we're launching Masa with FanVestor to offer a limited edition, perks, products, and experience to my fans.
I let little shawty come here and take your place. Keep my love, you too excited.
Welcome back to the show. I'm really, really excited, Larry, about our next guest. This is somebody that we really respect, and I think he has so much to say. So I can't wait for you to introduce him, and let's talk to him.
Sure. This is Kevin Qual, who's going to be running for governor of the state of California. And, as a longtime California resident, I got to say, I'm ready for some changes. The California that I moved to some 30 years ago is it's not the same place. I mean, there are some major changes that need to happen, and it needs some new thinking and new minds and new energy and stuff like that. And I'd just like to welcome Kevin.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks, Omar. Thanks, Larry. You both are celebrities of international fame, not only national fame. And I'm blessed to be amongst two stalwarts as Americans. And the reason, Larry and Omar, I decided to run for governor of California, being the fifth largest economy in the world, was the day was last year on July 4th, Independence Day. So every leader has a triggering point. And for me, the triggering point was that day when I was walking on the beach of Belmont Shores and I see the whole California was shut down. And just a week before that, the protesters and all those things that was happening. And the governor did not stop all that happening. But he stopped on the day of Independence Day of United States, America, the country we all love as immigrants. And so that doubted the loyalty of an individual who's born and brought up here against the immigrant community that gave their lives and left their own country of birth and come here and really become a citizen of this country. They know the pain. And on top of that, he shuts down the whole state of California, which never happened under the COVID time. No country shut down their country on Independence Day of the country. So that was my triggering point. And professionally, last 20 years, I've been involved with bringing global businesses to California, so that California is like an international hub. Between San Diego and Santa Barbara, you have 200 countries, immigrant society, and first generation, second generation, third generation. So you really don't need to go to Moscow to meet President Putin. You just go to Glendale, meet somebody who's close friend of President Putin, and you can do business with Russia. The same thing applies to India. You go to Artesia, little India is there, then you can do this thing. Same applies to other communities. 200 countries are there right here in Los Angeles. And we represent 55% of the voting bloc of California. And there is no federal representation we have in Washington, D.C. from Los Angeles. That is the third reason I'm running, because we need a federal representative come out of California, which should be from Los Angeles. And Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, Kamala Harris, everybody is from the Bay Area. So they don't care about us. They don't care about the problem we are having with homelessness. The roads are broken up. The infrastructure is cracked. And all these things. And at the age of 27, I built one of the best ports of Asia before I came to the United States. I was in charge of the port and the township. So I come with a lot of experience of ICB contracts and no, BOT model, BOOT model, PPP model. So those ideas of 60 years, I'm going to be August 16th this year. I want to bring all this experience on the table for my state that I love most, California.
Well, let's just, Larry. Let me just start by saying that you have such an interesting background, and that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you, being first generation Afghan American myself. You want to take us back because I know Larry and I know you, but a lot of people watching the show doesn't really know your background and where you come from. So maybe perhaps we can start a little bit about your background and how you got to California, and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
Interesting, yeah. Very interesting background. I grew up in a very small village, actually, 30 miles away from the city of Joy, as you all know. It used to be known as Calcutta.
Yeah.
Now it's called Kolkata. So I grew up there in a small village. And then I went to something like Stanford of India, NID Warangal. Warangal, I did my electrical engineering there. 5 years electrical engineering. At 21, I came out of college and right away joined the Indian Navy and as a naval officer. And I was fortunate enough to have the first job in the Indian Navy to drive an aircraft carrier at the age of 22. It was called INS Vikrant. INS Vikrant was very famous aircraft carrier because that was involved in that creation of Bangladesh as a nation in 1971. So I had the opportunity to drive that, and then I was also trained in submarines. The submarine that you see next to Queen Mary, the Foxtrot class submarine, I was trained in that, and at the age of 27, I leave the Indian Navy, and I joined to build the Jawaharlal Nehru port as an electrical engineer. From there, I one day decided my son was born in April of 1991, and I decided there are too many potholes in India and there's no motivation to stay back in India, even in spite of being one of the, achieved quite a bit in 10 years of working life there. So there was no motivation. So I said my son should have a better life. And somebody offered me MBA in 1 year's time. Come to America, we'll give you MBA in 1 year's time in South Dakota. So I land here in September 1991 and I land in New York City from going to South Dakota. I found South Dakota too cold for me, so I didn't know I was going to a place so cold, and because of economic hardships, I moved to California, and since then I've been in leadership and construction. Built a couple of temples, a lot of fire stations, a lot of schools, a lot of custom houses. And then I was awarded a contract, ICB contract, to develop 500 acres of land development in Navi Mumbai, which is where I want to build New York City, American City. Maybe I build Los Angeles City there on 500 acres of land. So that project is still going on. I want to bring business to California contractors. It's a $10 billion project. And then by 2006, I started this organization called US Asia Business Forum, Inc., a non-profit organization to bring international businesses to California. That's how I got the experience of 15 years, how the world thinks about California and how they want to do business with California. And that's why I'm comfortable to bring in $5 trillion plus business to California. It's like Canton Fair. How did China develop? By doing Canton Fair. So why can't we in California have the biggest conventions here? And I plan to do under my leadership 365 days of the year conventions of bringing 6 countries every week. So I cover the whole planet Earth of bringing all the countries to come in, and I will be the chief guest of those shows.
So most of our viewers come out of the media and entertainment world, and one of the biggest issues for us has been basically the flight of business leaving California to go. I mean, right now, if I want to produce something, I can make a better deal in Georgia or Louisiana, or even send the money out of the country and go to Toronto. how? What is your thinking about? How do we bring this back to California and reestablish ourselves as the world center of the media and entertainment business?
Larry rightly said it does not only apply to Hollywood and productions and all the things. Like you rightly know, Los Angeles, 40 square miles, the media and entertainment business is almost a $3 trillion market. And 98% of that $3 trillion market is within 40 square miles. There is no reason for California producers or anybody in that media and entertainment to go out of California. That is going to be one of my top priorities to handle the issues because I come from Bollywood. Bollywood is as they produce more movies than Hollywood produces. I want to merge the two industries of Bollywood and Hollywood and bring in billions of dollars of investments coming to Hollywood from Bollywood because they are all aggressive with California. They love Hollywood. 80% of India loves Hollywood, but we need to bring all the businesses here so that the incentives are going to be given to individuals. And there are different Bollywood awards also. I want them to be happening after Oscar or before Oscars at the Kodak Theatre, which brings a lot of additional revenue to California. All these changes you're going to see under my leadership. I'm going to be appointing 40,000 advisors, voluntary advisors. They're not going to be on the payroll of the state of California, but they are going to be 40,000 advisors, 200 categories I've identified, 200 advisors for 200 categories of successful immigrants, successful business people like you. I want you guys to be the advisors of those nations, of people who have come here, who are immigrants, citizens of this country, and been very successful in America. I want you to take it back to your country of birth, like Afghanistan, you go, develop that nation. Why should only few nations be developed with America's help? Why not all the 200 countries we develop? You go to Dubai, you see America there. You go to China, you see America. It's America has developed the whole world, but it has not developed. Sorry, I correct myself. It's not developed the whole world, but it has developed few nations only. Especially after World War II. After World War II, what do you see? Japan, we destroyed. We rebuilt it. Korea, South Korea, we rebuilt it. Everybody is associated with California. But why not develop the rest of the country, world also, which brings in business to California? Same thing applies to your industry, Larry. Why can't Bollywood be here in a big way? Why do they need to go to other countries? Most of the movies are being made in Kazakhstan and other countries. Or Bollywood, you know what I mean. We will bring them to Hollywood, then that becomes a greater market for them also.
So, is it fair to say that when you become governor, we're going to have economic incentives and we're going to have a focus on bringing back or bringing in the media and entertainment business back to its former place as the center of the world of media and entertainment?
The taxes, the state taxes are going to be cut in half because of new business that is coming to California. I'll balance the budget with new business coming in to California. And your industry is going to be well taken care of. All the things Georgia, Louisiana, or Canada, any other country is providing with, we'll do the matching thing, much better deals for your industry than what they. Nobody can offer better provision than this. In addition to that, when you're a resident of California, your business is in California, and other states are trying to get, I will do matching, if not better.
So I want to follow up that with something that Larry mentioned, and that is, live events is something that especially smaller venues in California suffered quite a bit last year because obviously everything closed down. So I want to know if there's any incentive that you would give for smaller venues, smaller theaters, performing arts centers, even smaller music venues that all have closed down because of the COVID last year. What are some of the incentive that you're seeing? Are you planning on helping the owners of those venues to bring back the live events again?
I will be inheriting as the 41st governor of California between 50 to 60 billion dollars surplus amount. I want to first take care of my citizens of California, which are around 15 million households. I plan to give back to them and slash their taxes last 2 years, 2019 and 2020, to half of the things of the state part, not the federal side. And in that, I'm thinking about if I can balance the budget between 100,000 to $1 million as an incentive to each family household. That's how I'm planning to go. So I have to go through the numbers with my CFO that I'm going to appoint to, but I have major incentive plans for households. 15 million households that are out there, I want to give at least between 100,000 to $1 million. Like Gavin Newsom is distributing 5,000, 10,000. That's not enough. Minimum it should be 100,000 to $1 million. You're talking about one industry with concert. What about the 70% of the restaurant owners who are mom pops have lost their restaurants? If they don't own the building, they lost the restaurant, they lost everything. How do they come back? 100,000 to $1 million is what I'm thinking about being the incentives, and it's going to be backed by state. Your credit, why should there be a credit check on you? Obviously, your credit is going to be messed up. You can't take a $10,000 loan if your credit is messed up. Minimum, they say 680 it should be. Everybody's credit is gone. So, these are the changes that I'm going to make. Irrespective of your credit, you're going to get 100,000 to $1 million.
That's great. I want to start talking about, some of the bigger issues there, and we're happy to have Mary join us. And why don't we come back in 1 minute and start talking about issues like healthcare and inequalities and how Kevin's plans to fix some of this stuff are going to be.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We're joined by Dr. Mary Taheri, who's a COVID specialist, and we're just happy to have you in the studio with us. And we thought it would be a great idea, Larry, to have her come on because we're gonna talk about healthcare and obviously a lot of health issues that we'll be getting into.
A lot of issues that affect everybody in California and stuff, and just kind of set the agenda a little here. Mary, these days you've kind of gone from the LA level, and now you're like at a national level with the stuff you're doing with the Biden-Harris task force and stuff like that. Just tell us what that is.
So I've been in healthcare. I started as a nurse, and I got my doctorate as a practitioner. It's been over 23 years that I've been in healthcare. Mainly emergency and trauma, and I've done a lot of volunteer work with the homeless communities with third world countries, Mexico, Afghanistan, all of that. But COVID completely changed everybody's lives. And so I opened up 3 COVID sites for Department of Health in Los Angeles County, which is the second largest health department in the nation. I ended up the first one was a success. I was asked to open a second one. That was a success. And then the third one, I converted Sheraton Hotel at Pomona Fairplex at 245 beds to COVID hospital, basically, for quarantine and isolation. And it wasn't just used for our homeless population, but it was also a place where the hospitals were able to decompress because they were so overwhelmed with the COVID patients, and then isolating multi families that lived in one household. We were able to isolate them, quarantine them. Same with frontline workers. We took care of everybody. But so, union. I'm a huge supporter and a part of SEIU, one of the largest unions in the nation, and I'm with Nurse Alliance. I'm a committee and a representative with Nurse Alliance through SEIU. And SEIU actually asked me to be an advisor. Well, they put my name in the hat for the Biden-Harris's COVID task team advisory task team. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of that and be chosen. And there's 12 of us advisors for the Biden-Harris's COVID task team, and that's how I.
That's pretty amazing. So we're sitting here with Kevin, who's going to be running for governor.
Yeah.
And
Nice
as a
to meet you, by
healthcare
the way.
professional that's been at the local level, at the state level, at the national level, if you're sitting with the governor,
Yeah.
what is the most important thing that he needs to focus on for the state of California?
I'm getting chills just like listening to this. This is our dream in healthcare. I think those of us who are frontline know very well what's happened and what's been brought to surface. The inequalities, the health disparities that our brothers and sisters in the Black communities have faced since beginning of time in America, what is known as USA. And we're still dealing with these issues. This is not okay. This is 2021. And so one of the main things is we don't want to, as healthcare providers and clinicians, to go back to the way it used to be. We want change, and there are many negative things that COVID obviously brought to the world and to our nation, but there are a couple of positive things, and one of them is the fact that the health disparities are on the surface and everybody's able to see them. So let's do something about it.
What are your thoughts, Kevin?
Thank you, Dr. Diary, on your appointment with in Washington, D.C. Really congratulate you. And the second thing I would like to say, your profession is one of the most noblest profession. And in the last 1.5 years that has happened. And this is what I've been doing last 20 years, community service. And we used to honor men and women in uniform every year. But this year we have added that to frontline workers too. So doctors, nurses, medical assistants who have done an exceptional job at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. It's on the 16th of August, just letting you know.
Okay, thank you.
Now the question I need to ask you a couple of things. We are the most advanced country in the world.
Yes.
We say we are the best healthcare system in the world. How come out of 3 million people who have died during the COVID 1.5 years, how come 25% come out of our nation, which is a tragedy?
Yes.
So I would like first, as the governor of California, to do a thorough investigation
Thank you.
with a global healthcare system that is existing all over the world. How come a population of 1.5 billion people in India, only 300,000 people have died? So even in spite of the Delta variant and all those things that's happening at the moment, and we already had casualties of 600,000. So there is a technical flaw, and 60% of the hospitals of California are owned by my community, Indo-American community or South Asian American community. So I have a lot of interaction last 30 years into the healthcare system that needs to be changed. And it has to be a partly state-sponsored industry, because I know 60% of the hospitals are not making money throughout the state of California. So we need to revise this, the whole thing, healthcare system, maybe like Canadian system, which is supposed to be one of the best in the world, Canada's healthcare system. So it is one of my top priorities, and the state of California, as the fifth largest economy, going to be the second largest economy under my leadership, definitely can absorb the cost involved in improvising this healthcare system. But this is important to have an investigation done why 25% of the world's deaths of COVID has happened in my country.
So you see it more as a state run.
Right. State run on the Canadian model, I'm trying
Because
to
that's
adopt-
what it is. That the Canadian system is more
System.
state run, right?
No, it
It's-
is country
It's
run.
a country
Country.
run.
So
It's a
if it's
university.
country run.
It's
Yes.
it's a universal healthcare. But if it is functioning there, I can take that model and bring it to California, because that is the primary three aspects of every citizen. See, I have to only take care of 15 million households and 40 million residents of California, which is not even the population of Mumbai. You understand what I mean? I come from a country where Mumbai's population, I'm talking about Navi Mumbai and Mumbai together in that region, Pune included, is 40 million people. And in 40 million people, the fifth largest economy of the world, I want eventually, before I leave office, every California resident should have a home, supported, if they can't afford it, supported by the state of California. There will be some kind of a program. Students coming out of California should have debt free. They should be focused on the work, not to focus on the repayment of the loans. I'm going to be adopting all the Bernie Sanders doctrines for the state of California. I'm going to be making sure healthcare is provided in the top notch of the world. These are my priorities. Like we say in Hindi, roti kapda makan, which is
I don't say that, my friend.
roti
Larry says that all the time.
so it's like roti means food.
Food.
I know that.
Okay, kapda means clothes to wear, and makan means home. These three things, and the fourth thing will be healthcare. So these four things, it is like Roosevelt had said during World War II time. I want to see every American owning a house.
Yeah.
So his dream, I will be fulfilling as the governor of California.
But just before you go on with the next question, since you was talking about homes, I just want to quickly ask you about, before we pivot back to healthcare, is the laws of people being evicted from their homes now because of the rent issues. What are your thoughts, and what would you do about that?
It's going to get worse. I'm unfortunate
Yeah.
to say that it's going to really get worse.
Yeah.
The homelessness is going to get worse.
Yeah.
Because the state cannot support it. That's why I said I'm going to give $100,000 to $1 million every household. I don't need to know whether he has paid his rent or not rent. Every household of 15 million homes of California is going to get a bonus, whether you call it a bonus or whatever you might call it, a pandemic bonus kind of a thing, $100,000 minimum to $1 million. You go fix your issues and come back to the market, because I've got plans, new plans. We got to make this state an entrepreneur state. We got to make this state a crypto friendly state.
Yeah.
We need to have bullet trains. To travel in a bullet train, why should I go to Japan or to China? I should have the best technology because it's existing here. Hyperloop is existing. Everything is existing. Bullet train, no taxpayers is going to pay $1. I'm going to outsource it through an ICB contract, get it funded, zero down payment, get it funded, 30-year BOT program, build, own, operate, transfer, give it back to me after 30 years. No problems, no cost involved. So these are the kind of things all the governors have delayed it. Like, we are a third world country. From here, LA to San Francisco, it takes me 12 hours to go in Amtrak. And these four families have been controlling California politics for 80 years. The dynasty rule. I left India because of dynasty rule. And that dynasty rule, the potholes, everything has come to California. So maybe this dynasty rule and potholes follow Kevin Call. When I was in India, I had this problem. 30 years I've been here, I've only seen potholes and this thing.
So my office is in Skid Row, downtown Los Angeles, and I actually left the emergency room and trauma after 20-something years to come and work with the homeless population full-time. Although I was doing volunteer work, now I can say I feel blessed. I can't believe that every day I get to work, and I get paid to work with the homeless population, which is my passion. And we are in a crisis situation. This is not a something that we could kind of look away. As a governor of one of the states with the most homeless issue and crisis, what are your intentions of, how do you want to move forward with the homeless situation?
It's very simple. That's why I said the 80 years of dynasty rule has really, California is hurting. This Jerry Brown or Newsom or Nancy Pelosi or Getty, all these people don't want to fix nothing. Okay? It's very simple. Homelessness in California can be removed in 90 days' time under my leadership. Okay? There are 3D printing technologies available where homes can be built in a day and a half. All the state buildings which are vacant, dilapidated, those are going to be where the homeless people. There are two categories of the homelessness. You got to understand the problem. One category is about real homeless people, like this Omar rightly said. There's going to be more coming in because of the rent issues and all those things. Where are they going to go? If they can prove the residency of California is the people, I'm going to be supporting them. Okay, residency pre-pandemic, they have to show they are pre-pandemic. That's my responsibility, which I'm going to do a very good job of that by building homes on California state lots. And these homes are going to have two sections. One is going to be behavioral for mental patients, and one is going to be. If I have to absorb 3 million people also, I can do that. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. You're fifth largest economy in the world, catering to only 40 million people.
Right.
India is far behind us.
Yeah.
I come with an experience of 1.5 billion population. Here it's only 40 million people. And the economy is the fifth largest. Under my leadership, it's going to be number 2. So I'm going to make it into a diamond state. Now coming to the next point. I am of the opinion, anybody out of state who is homeless, as a governor, I'm going to give a directive, take your ticket, pack your bags, go to your state. I'm going to talk to all these governors, you know what, take your people to your state, not my state. So those are the things. Coming to the border issue also, a lot of illegals are migrating. I'm going to close the borders, at least of California. I'm going to have some policy that the borders are not going to remain open and people can't have inflow and outflow. So those are issues that I'm going to be taking. But immigration, I want that to be done. And that only I can recommend to the federal authorities. I have no jurisdiction on that. But in America, unfortunately, we treat our pets and dogs and cats and other pets that we have at home better than we treat human beings and illegals. So that is not acceptable to me. I want illegals, something to be taken care of. It needs to be taken care of. It's a priority to me.
So the
You sounded like Bernie Sanders, right?
I mean, oh my gosh!
I
yeah.
agree with the
I am
Bernie
a
Sanders
huge
doctrine.
Bernie Sanders.
No, I agree with the Bernie
supporter.
Sanders doctrine. We show to the world that we are most caring people. We are not caring people. Let's be honest about it. If you can't take care of brother, sister, illegal or legal,
or a black communities
exactly.
who are American.
Exactly. So they all need to be taken care of. We are one community. We are human race. We need to take care of our people. But I don't encourage new people coming in.
We need to clean up. We need to stabilize the situation.
I need to close the borders first. Then I'm going to implement my plan. And then I want to recommend to President Biden that, we need to have a national plan to take care of illegal people. If you have to go back 30 years, might as well go back. And if 36 million illegals are there in America, or 100 million, the country can absorb it. Legalize them. Find a way like Ronald Reagan did it, because he came from California. He was the last president of the United States from California who fixed the immigration issues and the illegal issues.
I mean, and I'm a Democrat, and I'm signed up as a Democrat. I'm a Democrat voter, but it was Ronald Reagan, and around the time when Russia invaded Afghanistan, killed millions of people. millions of people were war refugees, including my family.
Right.
Well, my parents were killed
Sorry
during
to hear-
that,
sorry to
yeah,
hear that.
and my entire family. But most of us were lucky to come as as refugees. I was born here, but I'm saying my family. But my point is, yes, he was Republican, but he open arms welcomed war
But
refugees
did you understand why he did it?
during that
It's not
crisis,
about
you
red
know?
or blue. It's
Right.
not about red or blue. It was not a Republican or a Democratic policy because he was from Los Angeles. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We need a governor from Los Angeles.
Who's
So-
a melting pot, right?
Yeah, which is, definitely a melting pot. So, back to the media and entertainment world. So it's fair to say that if you become governor, we're going to create an economic climate and a social climate that makes it more desirable to be living here and get all the things that human beings actually are entitled to or should be. But we're also going to put in things like tax incentives and stuff to make it so that the production world doesn't have to look outside of California.
Absolutely. You are going to get tax rebates. You're going to. People talk about climate change, carbon rebates and all. What you have here, you take advantage and build your economy based on what you have, where you are the world leaders. That's why I want California to be a crypto-friendly state before Dubai takes it over. We are competing against the world today. It's not about California standing alone. Dubai is approving air taxis. Here in California, we're delaying it. Other countries are having bullet trains. India is getting a bullet train from Japan. Japan has the fastest bullet train. Why can't we outsource these technologies, bring them to California under BOT model? There's BOT model, build, own, transfer. There's PPP model, uh, public-private partnerships. India is selling its PSUs, 12 PSUs, including the Indian Railways, Air India, under the PPP model. We have different avenues to go with without hurting the tax dollars of individuals. Larry, there are solutions. Same thing applies to your industry, media and entertainment. I promise it from 3 trillion, I'll take it to $6 trillion industry because we are world leaders on that.
That sounds good to me.
And you think that as far as paying for all of these programs that you're talking about, are you going to be able to do that without raising taxes to individuals? Because a lot of people that are making over $1 million in the state, are probably saying, look, how are you going to pay? Do I have to pay more taxes? Larry falls in that category as well, and I'm just saying, are you going to tax individuals more to pay? Because it sounds very generous what you're saying, but how are you going to be able to pay for it?
Omar, when I started my business 26 years ago, first thing I learned in business, there are 3 components very important: business development guy, investor, and the implementation guy. There are 3 people required to make a successful business. Out of the 3 people, who is the most important person? You can find another investor, no problem. You can find another implementation guy, no problem. I'm just talking about one industry like construction, okay? But what you cannot find is the business development manager. I am the best business development manager in the last 26 years. You know why? When I was running my construction company, I grabbed a contract of $10 billion, which I'm giving it to a California contractor to build New York City in Navi Mumbai. Okay? I am going to be California's business development manager, going to 200 countries, bringing in business here and inviting them to trade shows, investment seminars, venture funding seminars. Every week, 6 countries are going to be, every convention center is going to be hosting in California and signing $200 billion deals with those nations by California companies. If I am bringing so much of business to California, do you think I need Larry's money? I need her money. I don't need your money.
I don't have it.
So I'm just saying, the main thing in any small business or big business is the business development. California governor should be treated as a business development manager of the world, Go. I'll give you an incident, and it was such a tragic thing because I've been involved in leadership for a long, long time. Gray Davis, as the governor, had allocated $200,000 budget in 2002 to open a trade office in New Delhi. This is a true story I'm saying, and that is the reason I'm going to, like Abraham Lincoln said, if you don't see things happening your way, go grab the power. And I have gone into this race because I see nothing happening, and it'll go further down because people don't understand what we talk about. So Gray Davis approves $200,000 budget for opening a California trade office in Delhi. Arnold Schwarzenegger walks in, he removes that 200,000. So till today, there is no California trade office in New Delhi. Isn't that the craziest thing? The BRICS nation are driving force of the world. BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa. We don't have trade offices there. So if California trade office would have been in Delhi, there are 12 proposals coming out today of $5 trillion to have JV, PPP model of Indian Railways, Air India, Airlines is on sale. The post office land is on sale. These things I would have brought it to California and made California companies joint venture with Indian companies. Let me ask you a question. Who has become the richest people and where they have become the richest people of California? By going to India, right? Facebook, Amazon, all these guys, right? Yeah. 1.5 billion. Apple, for that matter. So if I'm Indo-American, I represent 60% of the world population as an Asian American. We all do. We are 60% of the world's population, and North America's population is only 5% of the world population. Wouldn't you marry a 60% kind of a looking guy like me or you with that 5%? Common sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
Newsom looks are only 11% of the world. Newsom looks are 11%. My looks are 65%. Where would you vote? 11% or 65%?
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
All right. So before we wrap up, I have some questions. We want to get to know Kevin the person. All right. Other than Indian food, what's your favorite food in California?
I love Mexican food.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good answer. Good
High
answer.
five. High five.
Other than Bollywood, who's your favorite actor or actress in America?
You know why I named myself Kevin Collin way back in 1991? When I came to this country in 91, every time I used to be on the phone talking to anyone, please spell your name. So my name was Kishore Kaul. So I had to say K for kite, I for India, like that. And there was a movie of Kevin Costner at that time, Larry.
Oh.
At 91, there was a beautiful movie of Kevin Costner. And I liked his acting.
Is
and
it The Bodyguard?
Not The
No
Bodyguard.
Way Out.
Okay.
Probably he's talking about No Way
No,
Out.
not Nowhere. Out of Africa or something like that, right?
Oh, Dances with Wolves.
Dances with Wolves.
Oh.
You got it.
Yeah.
So that was the movie. I said, I like this name. So I became Kevin Kishore Kaul.
But how about music? What are you listening to?
Music.
Obviously, Omar's music.
Yeah, Omar's music. I never heard it. I'm going to start hearing music.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to start hearing
I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I used to like
I'll play at your inauguration.
the Eagles song California.
Oh.
Hotel California.
Hotel
That's one
California.
of my favorite songs.
Well,
Yeah.
Kevin, you're such an interesting guy,
Thank you,
and it's such a pleasure to actually have you here. And same with Dr. Mary Taheri. So lovely to have you guys. And Kevin, honestly, just seeing you now, I mean, first time we're meeting. I mean, we've seen each other, but I'm seeing you. Larry has told me so much about you, and when he told me that you're actually coming on the show, I was really excited to meet you in person. Can you tell our audience how they can support you? How could they find you? Do your website or any of your social media handles? Please let the audience know, because I'm sure a lot of people would want to come and visit your site.
Thank you.
Sure.
It's www.kevincallgovernor.com. www.kevincallgovernor.com, and I'm available 24/7 to everybody in need. For good suggestions, you can call me on my cell phone. It's 310-871-9607, and I'm available for all California residents for 24/7 for you guys, because my personal issue is, this is the country we all love. The whole world wants to be California residents. First, they want to be an American citizen, but in America, the best place in the planet Earth is California. and that's why we are all here. We are blessed people, and it is time to give back to America as an immigrant, also to say thank you, America. And somebody like me out of the box has to come in, grab the leadership, and make California a diamond state. And it's easy. In 4 years' time, it's going to be a diamond state. Trust me on that. And after that, I'm done, and I plan to go to the Himalayas after that.
Are you a Republican or a Democrat?
Independent. I chose to be independent for the
Sad.
following reasons. There are flaws on both sides, Democrat and Republican, and I know the top leadership of both sides. They're good friends of mine. They've all come to my platform in the last 20 years. And I think, as an independent thinking guy that I am, and I've been involved in mayor of LA elections, governor of California elections, and the president of the United States election on behalf of my South Asian community of 15 million population in this country. And I've done a good job there, and I want to do a good job now as an independent, but I have friends on both sides. So I really don't want to attack Newsom or Cox or anybody Republican or anyone. I just want to give my agenda to the California residents and tell them, yes, we care, and we will fix California problems in 4 years' time. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mary, for joining us, and Kevin for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again, hopefully someplace a little north of here. I think it's called Sacramento.
Oh, that'll be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Thank you very much, Dr. Mary, and we will be right back.
The reason why I created Hair Dope is because hair colors are popping everywhere. A lot of people, your favorite rappers, your favorite singers, your favorite artists, whoever, they're dyeing their hair, they're doing things like that, and this is a world full of color. So I feel like I want to feel like everyone can express themselves through my colors. Well, to me, the importance of entrepreneurship is having a career that's longevity. You know, a lot of people jump into the game and into careers of being an entrepreneur and not having longevity in what they're doing. So that's what I really feel like. You have to put your all into it. It has to be from the heart. You have to have longevity. You have to be able to stay in and stay active.
So one of the hottest shows in the world right now, Larry, is the immersive Van Gogh, right?
Yeah.
And we're so excited to have a special guest, and I want you to tell me who that is.
Sure. We're actually getting Dina Myers. Dina is the head of international business development for Immersive Van Gogh, which I was lucky enough to go to the pre-opening in New York City. And it's going to be opening in LA soon, I think towards the end of the month, in the old Amoeba record store. And so Dina will be with us, talking about, what their plans are, not just for Immersive Van Gogh, but she's planning a bunch of other immersive shows. And like I said, I thought it was just amazing. And, if you're good to me, I'll get you tickets.
Oh,
but,
yes.
She'll be coming on and just explaining how they managed to do this thing. It sold out for months and months in advance in LA. It was sold out in New York. It's literally been sold out every place it's gone.
Yes.
And if anybody watched the show Emily in Paris, there was actually an episode. That's where I found out about it, where I contacted them and stuff. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's almost like you're living inside a Van Gogh painting.
Well, I can't wait to talk to her and find out more about the show. So we're excited to have her. I hope you guys tune in.
Yep.